Hello, my name is Eric, and I was hoping to share with you some of my ideas about the events of 9/11 and how to possibly, from my experience and my thoughts, of framing discourse and conversation about 9/11 in the most truthful, honest, effective way, and perhaps how to react as a loving person. Because I know if you're watching this right now, you're a loving person. I can sense it. I get that feeling from you. So, just to backtrack for a second, it was probably for myself in 2005, where I was introduced to the idea that anything strange about 9/11 might have, that there was possibly a little whiff, a sniff of there's something strange, right? And so it was 2005 was my first introduction to that idea, that concept. On the day of, I, like many other people, probably was crying, literally crying in front of a television, out of concern and care, So, my interest in 2005 was started and it kicked off, and I just kept learning, and I wanted to read everything, and I was ingesting everything that I could. And long story short, the conclusion is that there were no planes involved in the events of 9/11. There were no passenger jets involved at all. So how do you create a discourse about that? I suggest, and it was helpful for me to consider the implications of the evidence, the consequences. What are the effects? What do we see? Now, this is 2016, and over this time, what have we also seen? So, it's not just the events of the day, but what kind of feedback have we, and so what kind of, from whether they're elected officials, right? Media, whatever. What kind of conclusions can we create? It's important, right? I would suggest that right now, 2016, silence, a big goose egg, from politicians from every stripe. Independent, Green Party, Democrat, and Republican. They're all kind of just. So it wasn't just the day of that we saw a complete consolidation of media working with government agencies. Media, again, of all stripes along the spectrum. But that continues to this day. And, if you're a peace-loving person like myself, a person who's concerned about the welfare and benefit of people, wherever they may be in the world, you may ingest information from NPR, PBS, Huffington Post, Young Turks, Bill Moyers, Tavis Smiley, Cornel West. What are people saying? Oh, I want to know. Tell me. And not a lot of, really, nothing. No one's saying a thing about how 9/11 was basically intelligence agencies planting bombs in a couple of spots, and then imprinting some layered video of airplanes flying into those explosions. Nunca. Nada. No one's talking about it. So, and that continues to this day. What I would say is that perhaps that means that any discourse, person or organization that's saying we need to have a new investigation into 9/11, we need to, we need to go call your congressperson and representative and get them to open a new investigation. Well, whatever I know, as a person with no budget, no staff, hardly any intelligence, low hygiene, bad taste in music, whatever I have been able to determine about 9/11 after looking at the best evidence, yeah, your state assembly person, your congressperson, they've been able to do that too over the past 15 years. Or your alternative blogger, or this is a alternative media personality, Stefan Molyneux, or anybody who's online, right? If they're not talking about this, that's a real problem. And there is no appealing to that. You saw that with the Kennedy assassination. You're right, I heard you. The Warren Commission, the House Select Committee on Assassinations, and oh my goodness, the 9/11 Commission. No. There's no help there. You can't, walk up to the murderous, blood-spattered clown holding the chainsaw and say, I'm just hoping that you could undertake a huge investiture of money and time to take time and think about the people that you've killed, and then come back to me with an evaluation of the, no. So, as an aside, if there's a movement or 9/11 Truth movement or organization, this is just me. Be highly skeptical. Movements, organizations, if they're not created by, funded by the perpetrators, they're infiltrated and overtaken by the perpetrators. Just stay with the evidence. Read from diverse sources. Intake the best things that you can over a time. It took me years, baby. It took me years. I'm hoping that I can help you, fast forward and, save some of your time. And so, in Discourse, if someone talks about terrorists, ask them what they're talking about. Because there were no Muslim extremists. There were no people who hated America. There were no hijacked airplanes crashing into anything. If someone talks about building... Okay, we're getting into the Discourse thing. So these are at minute 9. I've been taking a long time. But if someone says 3 buildings fell and 2 planes crashed, you can stop them and say, well, no, not just 3 buildings, but every building of the World Trade Center was affected, and there were not 2 planes, there were not 1 plane, there were no planes. If someone talks about, well, there was obviously controlled demolition, well, you could say it was certainly a demolishing of structures, but it was via a technology that is unannounced or unpublished, unknown to, I guess, the masses. It was a classified technology that was used to devastate buildings, to turn them into dust. So building number 6, if someone talks to you about building number 7, say, hey, you like building number 7, you're going to love building number 6, baby. If someone talks to you about the 28 pages in how Saudi Arabia definitely was funding terrorists, well, again on that day, there were no terrorists doing it. If someone talks to you about it was an inside job or it was an outside job, well, when it comes to international corporations or international powers, which is what we're talking about here, there is no inside or outside. There's just intelligence agencies that are a part of the war profit lie system. And so that means it was a job, it was international, and some intelligence agencies, United States and Israel primarily, decided, let's plant some bombs and do this and that. Tough subject area. And I know it's not fun. It's not easy. Even after 15 years from the event, and for myself, it's been just, maybe 10 years of doing my own reading and thinking on it. It's still not easy. It's grievous. Oh, well, that's a word. Grievous? Oh, to talk about. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain and grief still. And so when you tell people everything that you know or have thought about it is a lie, oh, baby. But you know what? In that mourning process, what gets you through it is going to be love. So, patient, objective analysis of evidence, all that dry head stuff, and the heart comes in and says, oh, I'm going to still love you. We can do it. You can do it.